Hey everybody, Zeus Laser here. Today I'm bringing you a guide on Coil Turn 2 as a part of my Raiding Simplified series. Because of everything going on in this turn, I am going to focus on the role tanks have in this fight. I will attempt to bring other guides in the future from multiple roles, but as of now, let's focus on the tanks. Turn 2 is one consecutive fight, similar to a gauntlet, so if you wipe, you need to start from the beginning of where we are here. The route that I take seems to be one of the most group-friendly ones. This can be done multiple ways, and I understand groups have their preferences, but this is the one that I recommend that you take, which is obviously killing this node here and going to Sector 3, which is left from where you are facing the boss. From Sector 3, go to Sector 5, which after that will bring you to ADS. The countdown of the clicks you see means that once the last tick is complete, the boss will explode and it is a wipe. The countdown starts when you pull the first node. If you follow the sectors I recommend, you will not be too starved for time, so don't worry so much about the clicks, and the reason that I say this is because you don't want to overrush your group and have unnecessary wipes due to players not being ready. Move at a steady, consistent pace, and you will be fine. Alright, let's get into it. There are three main abilities that the nodes and ADS have, and these are the most crucial abilities that the tanks need to be aware of. First one, High Voltage. An ability that can be interrupted by your spirits within, and because of the cooldown of your interrupt and the time between high voltage, you need to set your group up so you are getting every other one, rotating with a bard or your other tank. So make sure to be vocal on whose turn it is to get the interrupt. For example, my bard's name is Tox, so I usually say something like, Zeus got this interrupt, Tox you're next though. Next ability, Repelling Cannons, an ability that every node has, including the boss, so learn how to dodge this. You cannot backpedal out of this, so make sure you use your mouse to turn you backwards as fast as possible. If you can dodge repelling cannons and get interrupts, you will truck this fight tanks, I promise. Last main ability that the tanks need to be aware of, which also brings up another small portion of this fight, is a stacking debuff, which should be stacked to around 3. So I recommend that you set your off tank to focus so you can track their buff to make them aware of when you're using provoke. Tanks need to bounce this boss back and forth a lot here. When you know your tank is going to provoke, stop attacking the boss, sheath your weapon, and wait for them to secure aggro. The positioning of the tanks should be the same for every node. You want to stand on opposite ends of the flank position. So, as you can see here, the tank and I are on opposite ends of the flank position, and it is rinse and repeat. Dodge repelling cannons, get the high voltage interrupt, and switch back and forth according to your stacks. It is that simple, tanks. Just focus on these three abilities and you will be fine. I will fast forward to section 5, where I will show you one more ability that node has before ADS. Just note, this ability will not happen during ADS. I am showing you this because tanks that watch my guides are prepared for it all, and this is damage that you can avoid to make it easy on your healers. Okay, so this is section 5, the last node before ADS. And the ability I want to show you is here. The ground lights up all around the boss, leaving small intervals for you to go to, making you clear of the damage. If you get hit by this, it's not the end of the world or a wipe causer, but it just makes you take less damage. Just know that if you get hit by the repelling cannon after taking the damage from the fire in the ground, you will die, so be aware of that. What I recommend to do is either strafe left or right to a safe spot. Don't make any drastic changes in your movement. Just try to do the minimum amount of movement as possible. So that's section 5. The next part is ADS. So let's go ahead and tackle ADS, and you will be all set to clear turn 2. Alright, it's ADS time. All the work going through the gauntlet is tested here. Let's do a really quick recap and coverage of new abilities that ADS has. Same thing as all the nodes we covered in the guide, ADS does Repelling Cannon, High Voltage, and gives you the stacking debuff you need to swap with your tank. Remember, the voltage needs to be interrupted by 2 players, so be vocal on the interrupts. What we do here is bring the boss to the back wall while the DPS spreads out, anticipating the elegant rod. Now I'm going to give you a pro tip here, tanks, so listen up. In order to secure your interrupt and have smooth transitions between tanks, when you know it is the tank's turn to interrupt, swap after the high voltage goes off that you need to interrupt when it's your turn. This may make your stacks go above 3, but that is okay. Just tell your healers you might be taking a little bit more damage. The reason I am recommending this is because sometimes when you call for a swap, the high voltage is casted, and sometimes you are not attacking the boss, or you're not even targeting the boss, waiting for your tank to provoke. And in some cases, you're left behind with the interrupt because you can't see it going off. So another pro tip here, when you have aggro on the boss and you run out of the repelling cannon, ADS move towards you. So here's the problem with that. You may be too close to the wall, so if you run out of another repelling cannon, the wall will cock block you and you will get hit. So tell your tank when it's his turn to pick up the aggro, if you're too close to the wall, have him back it up and run towards the center of the room so you both have plenty of room to run out of the cannon. Okay, so if you followed my route, you will have 2 more abilities to potentially dodge. First one, Piercing Laser. Similar to the laser that ADS had at the beginning of turn 1, so just strafe left to right. This is really simple to dodge. A little ways into the ADS fight, he casts Elegant Rod. This is really easy to manage, and the tank does not affect you, so let your DPS do the work. I recommend to set up numbers, as you can see my group does, so you can easily call out where the rod is going. For example, 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 3, and so forth. The buff should be passed around 7 seconds left of the buff, and when you pass the buff, you are unable to pick the buff back up for 30 seconds. Okay, so I do get hit by 1 or 2 repelling cannons, and that is okay. The reason I did is because I see the boss backing up with my off tank as she runs out of the repelling cannon. And sometimes the voltage comes immediately after, so I catch up so that I'm in position to get the interrupt if it does come immediately after the repelling cannons. If you followed my route and stayed with me during the guide, that is the whole fight as a tank. It is rinse and repeat from there, voltage, repelling cannon, tank swap. It is up to your DPS to transition the rots and dodge the Zeus lasers during the fight. There's one last thing that comes around 30%, and I will show you that here, and what you need to do to dodge it. If you get hit by it, or you know you can't avoid it, make sure you are facing the back wall, because it will shoot you across the room, and that is bad news bears for the group if ADS is running buck wild in the raid. He cast a 360 AoE ability around him. How to avoid it? There is a portion around him that is clear of that red, and you need to run to it in order to be clear of the knockback. Both times it was casted behind him facing the wall, so I seek out that clear spot and go to it as fast as possible. Once again, if you can't find that clear spot, tanks, just face yourself towards the wall. That's turn 2's, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this guide. If it helped you in any way, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. As always, comment and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.